All right, so let's jump into it. Let's move into a couple of examples. Our first example, number one, is I need to find the length of arc BE. Okay, so that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to find the length of arc BE. Now, to accomplish this, I want to incorporate this formula right here. That means I need to have on the top fraction the part of the circle, and on the bottom fraction the entire circle. So we're going to start off by saying, what is the length? I don't know. So I'm going to write the length of arc BE. So that's how we're going to start. Length of arc BE over, well, what's the length of the entire circle? Well, that is our circumference. Unfortunately, I don't know what the circumference is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the circumference and I'm going to actually calculate it. So if you recall, circumference is equal to diameter times pi. Now the diameter in this problem is 22, so I'm just going to say that the circumference is 22 times pi, or 22 times 3.14. We bust out our Desmos and we type in 22 times 3.14. And we come up with 69.08. So that's what we're going to write in. Our circumference is 69.08. So we take that and we write it in for the entire circumference of the circle. 69.08 is equal to, and now we need to have a second fraction. Now our second fraction is going to be our angles. You'll notice that this arc, right, this part has an angle associated with it. The measurement of this arc's angle, is 75 degrees. So I'm going to write 75 degrees on top, and the entire circle's angle is 360 degrees. So I'm going to write 360 degrees on the bottom. All right, there it is. We just cross multiply. So we're going to multiply the length of arc BE by 360 is equal to the 69.08 times the 75. Feeling lazy, so I'm not multiplying that. I'm going to divide both sides by 360. All right, if I'm going too fast, just have to slow it down. Change me down to speed 0.5 or 0.25. And you hear me talk like this. Or you can speed me up and hear me talk like this. It's your choice. If this is going too slow or too fast, accommodate your video for that. All right, so now I'm going to take out Desmos and I'm going to multiply this guy out. So we have 69.8 times 75. Need a fraction. 69.8 times, sorry, not 0.8, 0.08 times 75 divided by 360. Divided by 360. And this gives us 14.39. So we now know that the length of arc BE is 14.39. All right, let's try a second example. Our second example, find the entire circumference of this circle, circle H, given the information that is there. Now you'll notice the information we have here is a little bit different. We actually know what the length of this arc is right here. The length of this arc is 32.8, and the measurement of the angle, oh, this is a big one. The measurement of this angle associated with this arc is 240 degrees. And this is where my equation is going to lie. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out my fractions, and I'm going to write them right on top the entire the piece that I'm looking the part of the circle. Sorry, I'm stumbling on my words here. So the top of our fraction is going to be the parts of the circle, 32.8, over the entire circle circumference, which I don't know, and I know I don't know it because it's asking me to find it. So we're going to say 32.8 over the entire circle circumference. Next, what is the angle that is associated of this arc? And that's 240 degrees. So the measure of that arc's associated angle, or corresponding angle, is 240 over the entire circle's angle. Now the entire circle's angle is 360. Oh, we get another easy problem. We're just going to cross multiply. So we have 32.8 times the 360 is equal to the circumference times the 240. Cross multiply, and now we divide. That's right, feeling a little lazy, so I'm actually not going to multiply out that 360 into 32.8, but I am going to divide both sides by 240, and the result will be that the 240s cancel, and we will have the circumference. So I need to multiply in my calculator in Desmos 32.8 times 360 divided by 240. One more time. Oh, and I already forgot it. All right, so let's go back to that. One more time. We're going to do 32.8 times 360. 32.8 times 360 divided by 240. And we come up with 49.2. 49.2. So we now know that the circumference of this entire circle all the way around is 49.2. All right, moving on to our last example. This guy is a doozy. He's a little rough. Okay, so we have a circle and we are being asked to find the radius of this circle. Now, the reason why this problem is more complicated is because the radius is actually not in our initial equation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use our initial equation and then see if I can figure out how to find the radius based on what we are able to calculate. Okay? All right, so let's try it. My fraction always starts with the part of the circle that on the top and the entire circle on the bottom. Now in this problem, the part of the circle's arc, the length of this arc is 4.1. So I'm going to write 4.1 on top over the entire circle's circumference, which I don't know. So I'm just going to write C is equal to my second fraction on top, always the part of the circle. So I have only 45 degrees of the circle. So part of the circle, 45 degrees, over the entire circle's angle, which is 360 degrees. All right, I can solve for C. I know some of you are like, but that's not the radius. It's cool. Let's solve for C and figure out if we can find the radius from that. So we're going to cross multiply. 4.1 is going to get multiplied by the 360, and then the 45 is going to get multiplied by the C. So we have this. Now we want to solve for C, so I'm going to divide both sides by 45. Remember, I'm a little lazy. I tend to not use my calculator to the very end of the problem. And the 45s cancel out. Looks very similar to the last problem. So now what I want to do is I want to take out my Desmos. So Desmos, I forgot. Desmos, 4.1 times 360. So we're going to say 4.1. So I make a fraction first. Then I go 4.1 times 360. And I already forgot what I'm supposed to be dividing by. And it says divide by 45. So we're going to arrow down and divide by 45. Excuse me. This gives us 32.8. So we're going to go back to our problem. We just found out that the circumference is 32.8. Hey, that's not bad, except that it wanted the radius. So this is what I'm going to do. Since I know my formula for circumference is pi times diameter, I can say that this is equal to pi times the diameter. So I now know that my 32.8 is just equal to my circumference, which is pi times diameter. Now I know what pi is. Pi is approximately 3.14. So if I divide both sides by pi, 3.14, what's going to happen is you're going to get, oh, not 31.4. That's a mistake. Sorry, by 3.14. What's going to happen is this should cancel out right there, and we now have our diameter. So I'm going to take out my calculator, and I'm going to go, all right, Desmos, I need some help, 32.8. So I'm going to have a fraction. So 32.8 divided by pi, 3.14, and what we come up with is 10.445. Now, since the third decimal is 5, I'm going to divide it, I'm going to bounce up, I'm going to increase my second decimal place value by 1, so it's going to be 10.45. So we're going to go back and write down that our diameter is 10.4. Oh my gosh. I'm not trying to find diameter, I'm trying to find radius. But you'll remember that the diameter, if you cut it in half, whoop, what you end up getting is your radius. So we're going to take the 10.45, we're going to cut that in half, and our answer, our radius comes out to 5 point, half of 45 is 22.225. So we have a 5, I'm going to go ahead and round that, 5.23. So we have a radius of 5.23. All right, so this is a longer video, sorry about that. Do the best you can. My suggestion is that go back and find at any point the parts, the problem that you're having trouble with. If you are having extra problems, please go ahead and meet me up in tutoring today, or sometime next week, or the next time you are available, or send me an email and just be like, hey, I'm having trouble with this. Can you help me out? And I'll try to hit you up as soon as possible. Best of luck on the problems, and hope to talk to you guys really soon.